Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another video. So today I wanted to talk about the Battle of Kursk, but for now I wanted to do my little intro because I wanted to talk about the Battle of Kursk, and I wanted to also go and talk about why it took me so long. Well, this past week I had a package I was waiting on, and since this past weekend, not this weekend because currently it's Saturday, September 6th, this past weekend before this weekend basically was Labor Day weekend, so packages, weren't really moving at one point, and apparently my package got damaged, so I lost a bit of stuff, which my package got here today, so I've been kind of working that out. Like I said, it got here today, so that happened, but I figured out a workaround and kind of improvised, but I still think the build came out great. So, yeah, y'all can be the ones to judge because you will be seeing the build here soon, later on in this video. And yeah, I will show you all the build here in a minute. Sorry if in the intro the fan was pretty loud. It was pretty hot in here in my room. But I'm going to be showcasing this build here in a minute. You can kind of see the basic overview. Like I said, my package was delayed, so I had to improvise with the tanks firing because that was really the big detail I got done since then. Since the last episode, that was really the biggest thing I want to take care of, along with putting blood on these 3 dead Soviets over here. So yeah, right now we're just going to do a little segment of talking about the Battle of Kursk, which the Battle of Kursk lasted from July 5th, 1943 to August 23rd, 1943, and it lasted 1 month, 2 weeks, and 4 days. And the Battle of Kursk began with the launch of Operation Citadel by the Germans, which was aimed at pinching off the Kursk salient with attacks on the base of the salient from north and south simultaneously. On July 12th, after the Germans' offensive stalled on the northern side of the salient, the Soviets commenced their Kursk offensive with the launch of Operation Kutsov. Sorry if I mispronounced that. I don't really know how to pronounce that. Against the rear of the German forces on the same side. On the southern side, the Soviets also launched powerful counterattacks on the same day, which led to a large clash between armor on one occasion in the Battle of Proparovka. I probably mispronounced it as well, but I'm not sure how you pronounce some of this stuff, so I'm sorry if I butcher it. On August 3rd, the Soviets began the second phase of their Kursk offensive with the launch of the Belgorod-Kharkov offensive against the Germans on the southern side of the salient. The Battle of Kursk was the final strategic offensive that the Germans were able to launch on the Eastern Front. And because the Allied invasion of Sicily began during the Battle of Kursk, Adolf Hitler was forced to divert troops training in France to meet the Allies in the Mediterranean rather than on the Eastern Front as a strategic reserve. As a result, Hitler canceled the offensive after only a week, in part to divert troops to the Mediterranean. This ensured that the heavy losses the Germans took against the victorious Soviet Red Army would keep them on the back pedal as the Soviets held the strategic initiative. So I would say at this point is really where you can tell that the Germans started really losing the war in terms of on the Eastern Front. You could argue earlier in the year of 1943 at Stalingrad, that is really the big turning point of the war on the Eastern Front. When the Germans lose earlier in the year of 1943 at Stalingrad, they get put on the back pedal. But the Battle of Kursk really hindered them more, as you can tell, considering that this was really the last time that they had the strategic initiative, as far as I can tell. And they took such heavy losses that they really just were on the back pedal. So yeah, we're going to go into the next segment, which is segment number 3, of just talking about the whole build. Alright, so we're on the third segment where we're going to be talking about this build. Sorry if my fan is loud. It's just literally, it's hot in here, like I said. And I don't know why in the world this fan is so loud. If it is loud on, the end of y'all, I don't know. I really hope not, but I mean, if it is, I'm sorry. I'm going to try to talk as much as I can and so that y'all can hear me. I don't think it's that loud, but who knows. So I think the way we're going to do this is start from here on the German side and go down to the Russian side. So that's probably going to be the way we're doing it. Yeah, I'm just going to give you all a quick little overview of so there is 15 Germans on this build and 21 Soviets, which makes up a total of 36 soldiers on this build. And that's counting the 3 dead there, because there's really only 3 dead soldiers on this build. I wanted it to look like the battle kind of just started. It's not like it's been going on for a while. Like this tank here moved from off this little path there, kind of moved to fire at this T-34-76 there. As you can see, they're both firing at each other. So I think I did a pretty good job on that. But we're going to start from right here with this officer. So you can see this officer here, he has a PPSH. And that's actually a cool little historical fact that I want to include, because the Germans would capture Soviet weapons, one of them being the PPSH-41, and they would rechamber it in their ammo, which, if memory serves me correct, was 9mm. So they would go and capture them and rechamber them to use them for their usage. And the Russians would also capture German MP40s, which I wanted to capture, but I ran out of MP40s, so I did not. Because you got one guy with an MP40 there, someone there with an MP40, and there should be someone on this build, that guy there with another MP40, so got 3 MP40s on this build. So I'll tell you, that's a lot of MP40s for me right now. I need to get a lot more weapons though. But you can see here he's just kind of under a tree walking, kind of overviewing what's going on here. You can see there's another officer there, which he has a Luger. He's just coming out of the house, which in the house there is a machine gunner, which I'll get to him in a minute. You can see here there's this guy here with an MP40. He is another MP40 gunner running to the battlefield. Then you see this guy here, he's a rifleman. He has a Gewehr 43, which is not accurate, but I gave him that so that he could use it in the sense of it being a Gewehr 41, which is accurate. So if you see that as a Gewehr 41, that is accurate. If you see it as a Gewehr 43, that is inaccurate, if you know what I mean. So you can see up here, there's this German with a Kar 98, and he is sniping at the Soviets that are right there. I believe he can look kind of just down this lane right here. If I get up and you can see, that's kind of roughly where he's aiming. It's not perfect, but it works. And so if I actually open this up a bit, you can see I did add some playability. And you can see there's a German in there with a MG42. That's the machine gunner that I was talking about in the house. You can see he's firing it from what you can see there, which I think this front part here looks really nice. So I'm happy with that. If you see here, there's this wooden wall I made, and right there is a crate of German hand grenades, which I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name of it. But yeah, there's 4 of them in there, so I thought that would be a cool little detail to add. You can see here there's this guy with an MP40. Let me just stand up just to make it easier. You can see there's this guy with a Kar 98, I believe that is. And there's this guy here with a Gewehr 43. There's hay bales right there. That's my take on a hay bale. It looks like something you'd see in Minecraft, honestly, but you know what it is. This guy here has a Kar 98. This guy here has a Mosin with iron sights, and this guy here has a Mosin with a scope. So I just thought captured weapons. And this guy here is a Kar 98, and he's shooting over here at these Soviets that were advancing. So he's shooting in that direction. You can see there's this German here with Panzerfaust. He's aiming at the T-34 there. He is not worried about that Soviet pushing up with the Soviet flag. And I know I didn't make it look like a Soviet flag. I said it's a Soviet flag. Just imagine it as that, That was the best I could do because I did not actually finish that, but I kind of just left it like that because, you know, didn't want to do that. Thought it'd just be easier to do that, so. You can see here there is a few craters around this. You can see in these two there's dead Soviets in it. This one has some, not really rubble, because this is supposed to be like a hay roof that's caught on fire. You can see there's like little pieces of hay or whatever that's kind of fell on the floor and all that stuff and into that crater. And you can see in this one there's another crater there. He's dead in there with a Mosin. He's also dead there with a Mosin. You can see this one, this German is running there with an MP40. So you can see here just a bunch of grass, rocks, stuff like that. Kind of just a basic little like area where they're meeting up and they're going to shoot each other, essentially have a battle. Even here on this path, because if you look above this, it's kind of a crossroads. It runs this way, and then it runs this way. So you can kind of see it's a crossroads essentially right there. Germans are trying to hold it and trying to keep the Soviets from taking the crossroads around this, inside this village. Did like 2 of these houses that were starting to burn. That one's not, but this one is. And then these 2 were like heavily burned. I was going to make it look like they weren't as burned with like logs and stuff, but I kind of ran out. So this is kind of the way it looks. And I wanted to make it look like these guys were pushing up to the fight, but they weren't exactly in the fight yet. So now I guess we're going to go from here in this area and push all the way to that side with those Germans. So, or not Germans, Soviets, sorry. So you can see here there's like at least, I don't know how many specifically, like I said, there's 21 Soviets on this build. So I think that's like 18 standing up, like basically going to fight right in this area. From right here to the other side. Should be 18, I believe, if my math is correct. So you can see a lot of these guys, they just have Mosins. He has a Mosin, he has a Mosin. He has a DP-28, I believe is what that is called. DP-27 or DP-28, something like that. It's a light machine gun. Mosin guy, Mosin guy, Mosin guy. Also a Mosin guy. Also another Mosin guy who is trying to take a shot at the machine gun right there. And this MP40 gunner running into the crater. You can see there's a T-34-76 there. You can see Mosin guy. That is a PPSH gunner. That is another Mosin guy. That guy has a PPS 42 or 43. He's an officer essentially. If I turn it, you can see it is a PPS 42 or 43. Would pick him up, but I don't really feel like it just because I don't want to ruin that part of the build. I'd like not picking it up. And you can see how simple these trees are. I wanted to keep a lot of this build like simple in a sense, and I kind of just didn't have any like 1x1 bricks, so I just used these little like pieces with the little holes in it. I forget what you call it, but I used those, and I put 2 little leaf pieces on the top. It's just super simple design. I like keeping things simple on these bigger builds, considering that, you know, when you keep stuff simple, it makes it easier, gets the point across. That's what matters to me. I feel like if you're doing a big build, that's what matters, getting the point across with as much detail as you can work into without it being too expensive for your budget. That is one piece of advice I can give y'all there. You can see he's got a PPSH 41 and a Mosin right there. You can see that guy has Mosin. And that Mosin guy is aiming not at his comrade. He is not trying to shoot his comrade, but he's trying to shoot at this guy with a Kar 98. And those guys pushing around the tank, basically. And like all these guys pushing around the tank, really. He's aiming in their general direction. And he's going to shoot at them. You can see this tank here. They're both... Oops, I didn't mean to bump that. Not trying to break the roof while I do this. You can see there's 2 T-34-76. They're both the same tank. It's just one difference you can notice is this one's actually done properly, and this one I actually messed up on. I talked about that last video. So if you have not watched, I believe it was episode number 5 was my last video. Go check that one out, because I absolutely did a hilarious mistake when I built that one, which I did not do on this one, because this one was the second one I did, so I corrected it. I don't know if I'm 100% going to correct that one, but yeah, that's just kind of where we're at with that. You can see I did a lot of these red flowers. I just want to do like a bunch of roses or poppies or whatever around here. Just a bunch of random flowers to add some detail. I was going to do like some pink or like lavender ones or something. Then I kind of thought about it. I'm like, that would be cool, but like, I don't know. I feel like there's a good amount of color with this. So I kind of am happy with this, honestly. Or I'm happy with this, but yeah. You can see kind of how I had to improvise though. It looks so crude when you actually look at it with the 1x2 plates, but like when you look at it here, how I did it with the 2x2 round plates, it doesn't look as crude, you know what I mean? Like, it definitely looks crude when you look at it from an angle like this. You're like, oh, that does not look that good. When you look from the side, it actually doesn't look that bad. So, I mean, I say mission successful on that one. I like it. You got the Panther tank there. You know, he kind of moved off of his little position, kind of moved out and is shooting at this T-34-76 and this T-34-76 trying to shoot at him. But the shot will land on his front armor right here, pretty much. That's where that will land. And then, you know, this T-34-76 trying to push up and aid him. But obviously, that is not going to end well, because I doubt a T-34-76 is going to take out a Panther. And if it does, definitely not by the front armor. Because if memory serves me correct, I'm not really a tank nerd or anything like that. I just know a few things about tanks. I'm pretty sure the front armor on the Panther right there, that sloped armor here, is literally made to be pretty strong. So, I mean, I doubt that shell is going to penetrate. But, you know, you can see they're both shooting at each other. I think that actually moved a bit. Maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, you can see I did a pretty good amount of detail for this build. This build actually cost me, surprisingly, $107, and that's in US dollars. So, whatever currency you're using, you can translate that into your own money, whatever that is, like euros or whatever. I don't know what everyone uses on my channel, so I don't know what where everyone lives. I probably got some people from the United Kingdom, people from like other places. I don't know where exactly everyone's from, but yeah, I don't know how much that is in everyone's currency. Like I said, it's $107 in my money. I'll tell you, that's quite a bit, but I'm surprised because that's actually $13 less than my last one, which was D-Day, Omaha Beach. And I think the only reason for that was because of the cliff pieces. I think the cliff pieces ran up on that. Either that or the soldiers, because, I mean, the soldiers did cost a bit more than these. I think the soldiers were a little bit more whenever I bought my second batch of Americans or something like that. But yeah, let me know what y'all think of this build. Probably whenever I have this video up, I'm going to be taking this apart. Maybe I'll do some streams next weekend or something like that of tearing this apart. Not sure yet. Maybe I'll do that this weekend, something. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, if there is anything y'all would like to see further with builds, that will basically be all for this one. This video will be the last one that you will see of this build, besides maybe shorts of this build, and that's about it. I believe that's really every detail about this build that you really can see. Like, everything I've pretty much shown. Like, a lot of these guys are Mosins. All three of these dead guys are Mosin guys. So they all have two-tone Mosins beside them. So, I definitely like those Mosins. And sadly, my next build is going to be Winter War. So I have to buy even more Mosins probably, because I cannot tell you just how many Mosins I'm going to use, because the Finnish soldiers, they also used Mosins. I don't know if they ever used any German rifles, because they actually were given German helmets from like World War I, like the M15, M16, stuff like that. And not the gun, the helmet. Not the M16 gun helmet. For anyone who instantly thought of that. Which I do not blame you on that. But, I don't know if they were ever given any Kar 98s or Gewehr 98, stuff like that, but I actually might need to research that, because that might be pretty cool to add in as a detail, if they were. But yeah, leave a like on this video. Also, I did have this guy here. I actually forgot to mention him. There's just this random Soviet right there, just, you know, his rifle shouldered. Probably didn't really show him much. But yeah, maybe I'll do a short showcasing one of these soldiers or something. I actually want to count anyways and do a video on how many soldiers I have. But then again, I probably won't do that right now. Like as a video until I finish my next battle. Because I am going to be ordering probably the biggest amount of soldiers I've ever ordered. I might be ordering 50 or more. I'm not sure how many. All I know is it's a lot. It feels like I'm ordering at least 50. I think that's what it is. It's like at least 50 of them. So I'll tell you, my next build is going to be insane. You think this was good? My next build is going to be smaller than this. This is 48 studs going that way. 96 studs going this way. So you think, my next build, sure, it's going to be smaller. But it's not going to be, you know, set in this. It's going to be Winter War during December 1939, the Battle of Taipao. I don't know how you pronounce that. I'm sorry. But I'm sure you can search it up. I'll do a video on it at some point. I was going to do American Civil War next, but I've actually kind of had some money issues, I guess, for 1 and for 2. I kind of wanted to be a bit more accurate with the rifles, so I was kind of going to go and plan that one out a bit more, kind of wait on that one, considering I probably have more parts than I could use for some of this. In terms of, for the, if I did Winter War right now, I have a lot more stuff that I could probably use for that than I could for, like, the American Civil War right now in terms of that, I feel like. But I don't know, that's just me. I feel like I have a lot more stuff for that, considering it's Winter War. I'm be using a lot of white parts. So yeah, also, thank you all for 144 subscribers. We're almost at 55,000 views, so thank you all for that. And yeah, we'll see you all in the next video. I'll probably be doing live streams here in the next few days. Not sure if I will this weekend. Maybe it'll be Monday, because today is Saturday as I'm recording this, and when this is getting released, as far as I know of. So yeah, see you all in the next video.